For today's adventure, Richard Lark Kelly and I returned to Fairbanks, Arizona, a ghost town. Okay, I'm actually taking a video.
You're taking a video.
Richard and Lark, where are we at?
We're at Fairbanks, Arizona, a ghost town.
What are we gonna do, Lark?
We're going on a hike from here to someplace else.
And that's Kelly Paul behind.
Lurking in.
The post office at Fairbanks was opened in 1883 and was closed in the 1970s, at which point the Bureau of Land Management took over the property and renovated the post office, some 30 years ago. And now it's part of the San Pedro Conservation Area. This school was built in 1920 to replace a wooden school that had burned down. But this town has quite a colorful history, having been the site of a big train robbery back in 1900. But our hike begins to the old cemetery and Grand Central Mill.
Now let's look like we're walking forward. Now we're walking in place.
This is some of the shenanigans I put up with trying to take a video.
How about this?
This is what we deal with. The train robbery in Fairbanks was coordinated by a couple of the deputies turned outlaws. Sheriff Milton was on the train guarding the Wells Fargo's box full of gold. He was actually subbing for someone that was sick. During the inevitable shootout, the sheriff shot one of the bandits, killing him, and wounded another. But Sheriff Milton was shot in the arm. However, he did protect the gold. He had to go to San Francisco for medical treatment and threatened to kill any doctor that amputated his arm. The arm was saved, and Sheriff Milton died some 45 years later in Tucson. This is the cemetery for Fairbanks. Just a pile of rocks. There's Lark. And they put it up on this hill. There's Richard. But they're just marked by a pile of rocks everywhere. Who knows who's buried here? Some people have put an artificial flower on some of them.
That's all. Gravesite.
What do you think the theory is for this block one, Kelly?
I think that's probably that somebody that had a little more prestige in the town, so they got a little better gravesite.
But
Here's one even more important person. They got a little cage around there.
it's just interesting how they did it on top of this little hill.
Well, they do that so the bodies don't wash out.
Yeah. Well, there are historical records of who's buried here. You can't tell from what's left, but obviously someone knows, as they still come and leave coins and gifts and even update some of the markers. Just interesting to see. Graveyard dating back to the 1800s. But now we head on our hike toward the Grand Central Mill. There's the wall that's left. Hard to visualize that building at this location and just how everything worked. There's just a series of rock walls going up the side of the mountain.
No.
So does anyone know what this is?
The There's a sign right over there that tells us.
Don't kick the bucket. At least Kelly appreciated my humor. But here it is, Grand Central Mill. The edge or near the San Pedro River in the San Pedro National Conservation Area. Loop trail from Fairbanks to the cemetery to the mill and back. So what you see here is the Grand Central Mill. I'm going to read from, we'll get a picture of Kelly as he wipes out and dies. But the rock wall was once the back wall of a silver processing stamp mill. This was one of 7 mills along the San Pedro that supported the 50 mines in the Tombstone Hills. The ore-bearing rocks from the mines were loaded onto wagons and hauled to the mills by long mule teams. Well, the railroad came into Fairbanks. It wouldn't connect to Tombstone until the early 1900s. Therefore, Fairbanks was a main stopping point for anyone traveling to Tombstone, and of course, for the transfer of ore and cattle. Of course, we had to check out every open mine shaft. Kelly enjoys it, taking a selfie. But they're just remnants of the ancient history. I like to joke that must have been some shootout. But old car door full of bullet holes. Even though the San Pedro River is mostly dry or underground at this point, it still supports a lush vegetation. I don't know what this plant is, but for some reason, it made me think of the coronavirus. Pretty though. A white velvet ant.
Yeah, you know those.
Was it black and white where the red normally is?
No, it was white and kind of white and gray.
There's Kelly.
I'm here.
There's Richard coming. He left his wife behind somewhere. What do you have to say for yourself?
I'm sorry.
No,
For
I
what?
noticed the big smile and
We're still doing our hike, but it's getting a little bit of rain. Nice cloud cover. That's what I felt like, a pile of bones. But we made it to the train station with the modern road up above. Old meets new, from the 1800s to now. And then we're back in Fairbanks. So I hope you enjoyed our little tour. Have a good day.